The stars were quiet that night, shining cold and distant as the small Terran ship glided through the dark space. The ship's name was Endeavor, and its mission was simple: explore new parts of the galaxy, learn about unknown worlds, and, if possible, meet new life. Captain Alec Morgan stood by the window in the ship's bridge. His eyes scanned the endless black with a mixture of hope and worry. This was his first deep space mission. He was an experienced xenoanthropologist, someone who studied alien cultures. But this was different. This was real. Suddenly, alarms blared. The ship's computer warned, "Warning, unknown vessel approaching. Identification, Kareth Empire warship." Alec's heart skipped. The Kareth Empire was legendary, feared for their fierce warriors and strict rules. They controlled many star systems and were known to be quick to attack anyone who entered their space without permission. "Raise shields," Alec ordered. "Prepare for contact. Let's see what they want." On the view screen, a massive ship appeared. It was sleek, black, and covered with sharp angles that looked like weapons. The Kareth ship sent a signal demanding the Endeavor to stop. Alec's second-in-command, Lieutenant Maya Chen, looked tense. "Captain, they don't look friendly." "No," Alec said quietly, "but we must try to talk." Suddenly, the Endeavor's engines stopped. The Kareth ship had used a tractor beam to hold them still. A voice echoed in their minds, a strange, deep voice, both calm and strong. "I am Princess Vayari Ka of the Kareth Empire. You have trespassed in our territory. Explain yourself." Alec swallowed hard. This was no ordinary enemy. This was a ruler, a warrior princess. "We mean no harm," Alec replied carefully. "We are explorers from Earth, seeking knowledge and peace." Vayari Ka's voice was cold. "Peace is weakness. You are lucky I have not destroyed your ship." Alec knew he had to stay calm. "Princess, I ask you to reconsider. We have much to share. We want to learn about each other." For a long moment, there was silence. Then the voice returned, softer this time. "Very well, human. You will come with me." Before Alec could react, the Endeavor was pulled closer to the Kareth warship. A boarding party came aboard, led by Princess Vayari Ka herself. She was tall and strong, dressed in shining armor with a sword at her side. Her eyes were fierce, but there was something curious in them. Alec bowed slightly. "Captain Alec Morgan at your service." Vayari Ka looked him over. "You are bold to face me. Few have courage to stand here." "I believe in talking before fighting," Alec said. She laughed, a sound like the clash of metal. "You are strange, human, but interesting." Alec was led to a large chamber. Guards stood nearby, but she said nothing. "I will keep you prisoner," Vayari said. "Not for punishment, to learn from you." "Why?" Alec asked, surprised. "Because you call me beautiful." Alec blinked. "I did? I meant it." "Why do you call me beautiful?" she asked again, her voice filled with true curiosity. Alec smiled a little nervously. "Because you are strong, proud, and not afraid. Those are beautiful things." Vayari Ka sat down, thinking. "You humans have strange ways." Over the next hours they talked. About Earth, about the stars, about war and peace. Alec told stories of humans laughing, loving, dreaming. Vayari listened, fascinated but wary. Suddenly alarms sounded again. "Princess, intruders on board!" a guard shouted. Vayari stood quickly. "Show me." A group of soldiers rushed in, dragging a young Kareth rebel prisoner. "He betrayed the Empire," the guard said. "He wants to join the humans." Vayari's eyes narrowed. "Bring him to the holding cells." Alec watched, understanding that the Empire was harsh and unyielding. But then Vayari looked at Alec, a hint of doubt in her eyes. "Maybe," she said softly. "There is more to this than war." Alec nodded. "There always is." As the night passed in the cold depths of space, two very different beings sat together, one human, one alien princess, each learning that sometimes beauty is not what you see, but what you choose to believe. Princess Vayarika sat quietly in her chambers. The room was large but cold, decorated with banners of the Kareth Empire and weapons that told stories of many battles. Yet tonight her mind was far from war. Across from her, Captain Alec Morgan rested calmly, though he was still a prisoner. He wasn't treated like a normal prisoner. She had allowed him freedom within the ship, curious about his strange ways. "Tell me more about your world," Vayari said softly. Alec smiled. "Earth is full of many things, some you might find strange." She raised an eyebrow. "Strange? I have seen many worlds. What is strange about yours?" He thought a moment. "We have art, paintings, music, stories that do not need weapons or power. We celebrate feelings, joy, sadness, hope." Vayari frowned. "Feelings? Weakness. The Kareth learned to control feelings to fight better. But feelings make us human," Alec said. "They make us strong in ways that weapons cannot." Vayari looked away, her eyes narrowing. "Humans are soft. You fight with words, but when the enemy attacks, words are useless." "Maybe," Alec said gently. "But words can change minds, and minds can change worlds." She was silent. Then she asked, "You call me beautiful, human. Why? I am a warrior. I have fought in many battles. I am not like your earth women." Alec leaned forward. "Beauty is more than skin and strength. It is in courage and curiosity and the will to change. You have all of that." Vayari studied him, confused. "You see things differently." "I see you," Alec said. "Not just as a warrior or princess, but as a person." For the first time, Vayari smiled. A small, genuine smile. "Maybe your kind is not so weak after all." Days passed. Alec and Vayari talked more. He told her stories of Earth's sunsets, how the sky turned red and orange and purple at the end of each day. He described music that made people feel things deep inside. Vayari listened, fascinated. She had never heard such words. On her world, everything was ordered and strict. Feelings were often hidden or controlled. One evening, Alec showed her a small device, a hollow projector. With a touch, a beautiful image appeared in the air, a painting of a woman holding a flower. "That is called beauty on Earth," Alec explained. Vayari stared at the image. "She looks peaceful, but is she strong?" "Strength is different here," Alec said. "It is in kindness, in patience, in love." Vayari's eyes softened. "I want to understand this." But understanding was dangerous. News came that the Kareth High Command was suspicious of Vayari's kindness to a human. They warned her to be careful. Vayari ignored them. She visited Alec often, asking questions about Earth, about humanity, and about love. One night she said quietly, "Tell me more about your word, beautiful. How do you use it?" Alec smiled. "We use it for many things. Not just people, but places, ideas, actions. It is a way to show respect and admiration." She nodded slowly. "On my world, respect is earned by strength and victory, but I think your way might be better." Alec looked at her. "You are learning. That is what makes you beautiful." Suddenly, a loud alarm broke the quiet. Guards burst into the room. "Princess, there is trouble in the ship's lower decks," a soldier shouted. Vayari stood quickly. "Show me." Alec followed as they ran through the corridors. They arrived at the docking bay where a group of prisoners were held. Among them were Kareth soldiers who had tried to start a rebellion. The leader, a young warrior named Thal, stepped forward. "Princess Vayari, you betray the Empire by keeping a human alive. We demand you release us." Vayari looked at Alec, then back to the rebels. "I choose a different path, one that does not end in endless war." Thal laughed. "You are weak." Vayari raised her sword. "Or maybe I am strong enough to choose peace." The rebels snarled but did not attack. Alec stepped forward. "Violence will not solve this," he said, "but maybe we can find another way." Vayari looked at Alec with new respect. "Human words, They are strange weapons, but powerful. The rebellion was quiet for now, but the threat was real. That night, Alec and Vayari sat together. Your people need hope, Alec said. They need to see there is another way. Vayari nodded. And you will help me? Alec smiled. Together, yes. For the first time, the warrior princess felt something new. Hope. The days passed aboard the Kareth warship like a slow, tense dance. Princess Vayarika and Captain Alec Morgan met often, talking quietly in her chambers or walking the narrow corridors of the ship. Their conversations were about many things: Earth, the Kareth Empire, hope and change. But outside their talks, a storm was growing. The Kareth High Command had noticed Vayari's strange behavior. Her kindness to a human prisoner was not the way of the Empire. They whispered behind closed doors and planned in shadowed halls. Commander Kale, a harsh and loyal officer, was one of the most outspoken. He believed the Empire needed strength, not soft feelings. The princess is weak, he told the council. She is endangering us all. The council agreed. Plans began to remove Vayari from power and place a stronger leader on the throne. But Vayari did not know this yet. One evening, Alec sat with Vayari in her private quarters. She looked tired, her warrior's pride mixed with worry. They are against me, she said quietly. They say I have forgotten what it means to be Kareth. Alec reached out and took her hand gently. You have not forgotten. You are just learning something new. That is not weakness, that is strength. Vayari looked into his eyes. For the first time, she allowed herself to hope. We must be careful, Alec said. If they move against you, you will need allies. Vayari nodded slowly. Who can I trust? Alec smiled. You have me. Meanwhile, the rebellion inside the ship grew louder. The imprisoned Kareth soldiers, led by the young warrior Thal, whispered among themselves, hoping for a chance to seize power. One night, Thal managed to send a secret message to Commander Kale. The message spoke of the princess's soft heart and the human prisoner's strange influence. Kale saw his chance. The next morning, Vayari was called to a council meeting. The room was filled with cold, hard faces. Commander Kale stood before her. Princess, he said, voice sharp like a blade. Your weakness threatens the Empire. You have brought danger with your human prisoner. I propose you be removed from command. Vayari's eyes flashed. I serve the Empire, yes, but I serve the people too. They deserve peace, not endless war. Kale sneered. Peace is for the weak. The strong rule, and the weak follow. The council murmured in agreement. Alec, who was allowed to observe, felt a chill. The Empire was closing in. Suddenly, Vayari stood tall. If you think I am weak, then test me. Kyle smirked. Very well. You will be judged by the high trial. If you fail, you will be removed. The high trial was a dangerous challenge. Only the strongest and most loyal could pass. It was designed to crush rebels and weaklings. Alec looked at Vayari. You don't have to do this alone. She shook her head. I am a warrior. I will fight. Not with swords alone, but with my mind and heart. The trial was set for the next day. That night, Alec helped Vayari prepare. They talked about what she believed and why she wanted change. Your people need hope, Alec said, and you can give it to them. Vayari smiled softly. You have changed me, human. I will not forget your words. The next day, the high trial began in the great arena aboard the ship. Kareth officers and soldiers gathered to watch. The first challenge was a test of strength and combat skill. Vayari fought fiercely, showing the power and skill of her warrior heritage. The second test was of loyalty. She had to face those who doubted her and prove she still stood for the Empire. But the final test was unexpected. Instead of a fight, she was asked to speak, to the crowd, to the Empire. Vayari stepped forward. Her voice was steady. I am a warrior, she said, but I am also a leader. I see my people suffer, not only from enemies but from fear and anger inside. We must change. We must find new strength, not just in battle, but in hope, in courage, and in understanding. The room was silent. Then, a few voices whispered, in agreement. Alec watched, proud. After the trial, the council gathered again. Commander Kyle looked angry, but saw the growing support for Veari. Perhaps, he said coldly, there is more strength in your words than I thought. Veari was allowed to remain in power for now. Back in her chambers, she looked at Alec. Your words are stronger than any sword. Alec smiled, because they come from the heart. But danger was still near. The rebellion was not over, and the High Command's shadow loomed large. Together, Veari and Alec began planning their next move, one that could change the Empire forever. Hekareth warship was filled with tension. Outside, the stars shone cold and distant, but inside, change was beginning to spark. Princess Veari Ka and Captain Alec Morgan worked quietly together. Their plan was risky. Too risky, some said. But both believed words and hope could be stronger than swords and fear. Alec's strange idea was simple but powerful. Use the ship's communication system to tell the truth about Earth, about humans, and about a different way to live. Veari was unsure at first. You think our people will listen to stories? They trust power, strength, not words. Alec smiled. Sometimes words can break stronger walls than weapons. Together they prepared messages to send across the Empire's ships and stations. Alec recorded stories of Earth, stories of kindness, courage, art, and love. He spoke about humans' dreams, about fighting wars, but also building peace afterward. He told stories of people helping strangers, of friendship across differences. Veari watched, learning the power of these human weapons. When they sent the messages, silence followed. No one expected their message to spread so fast. But soon the Empire's citizens began to talk. Some laughed at the idea of peace. Others listened, something new stirring inside them. On distant ships and planets, soldiers began to question their orders. Some whispered about wanting a better life, not endless war. Commander Kale was furious. This human poison must be stopped. He ordered a crackdown, more guards, more arrests. But the message had already taken root. On the Hekareth warship, Veari met with her officers. We cannot fight fear with more fear, she said. We must show them there is another way. Alec nodded. Your people are ready for change. They just need someone to believe in. A rebellion grew, not with weapons, but with ideas. Thal, the young warrior rebel, was watching closely. He had once wanted to overthrow Veari, but now saw something different. Maybe she was right. One night, Thal came to Veari's chambers unannounced. You risk everything with your human friend, he said. But I see your courage. Maybe there is hope. Veari smiled. Then help me. Thal hesitated, then nodded. Together they worked to spread the message inside the Empire, quietly, carefully. But the High Command was not finished. They planned a final move to crush Veari's influence and regain control. The day came when Veari was summoned to the warship's main hall. The High Command officers gathered, their faces hard and cold. Commander Kyle stepped forward. Princess, your rebellion has caused chaos. You must choose. Abandon this human influence or face exile. Veari looked around. The room was filled with those who still feared change. She took a deep breath. I choose to stand with hope. I choose to stand with the people, the officers murmured. Some cheered quietly. Others looked away. Alec stood beside her, calm and strong. Suddenly, the warship's communication system crackled. A voice echoed across the hall. Alec's voice telling the story of Earth again, of its people's strength, through kindness and unity. The crowd listened, many moved. Commander Kale's face darkened. Enough. But the tide was turning. Veari raised her sword, but not to fight. I do not want war. I want peace. Her words filled the room like light in darkness. The officers looked at each other, unsure. Thal stepped forward. The Empire must change. We can no longer rule, By fear. One by one, others nodded. The High Command's power began to crumble, not by force, but by truth. Vayari turned to Alec. Your words are the greatest weapon I have ever seen. Alec smiled, because they come from the heart. Together, they began to build a new future, one where humans and Kareth could be more than enemies. The warships. Great Hall was alive with whispers and cautious hope. Princess Vayari stood tall before the gathered officers and soldiers. For the first time, the air was thick not with anger, but with the possibility of change. Captain Alec Morgan stood by her side, a quiet strength amidst the tension. Together they had turned the tide of an empire, without bloodshed, without war. Their secret weapon was simple: truth, hope, and belief in something better. The High Command had lost its grip. Commander Kale and his supporters had retreated to the shadows, plotting in secret. But for now, Vayari was in control. We begin today a new era, Vayari said firmly. One where strength is not only in battle, but in courage to choose peace. We will rebuild the empire, not as rulers and slaves, but as equals and allies. Her words sparked a fire in the hearts of many. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Officers nodded in agreement. The people were ready for change. Over the next weeks, the Endeavor and the Kareth warship traveled through the Empire's territories, spreading the message of peace and cooperation. Alec and Vayari visited planets, meeting with leaders and citizens. They shared stories of Earth and the Kareth, building bridges where once there were walls. The journey was not easy. Some rebelled against change, refusing to believe in peace, but the majority listened. The idea of a future without endless war was powerful. One evening, on a small, quiet world, Vayari and Alec stood beneath a sky filled with stars. The twin moons of the planet shone softly. Do you think we can really change the Empire? Vayari asked. Alec looked up at the stars. I believe we must try, because if we don't, no one will. Vayari smiled. You have changed me more than you know. And you have shown me the strength and kindness, Alec replied. Their bond grew deeper, a friendship forged in the fires of conflict and hope. But the shadows still lingered. Commander Kale's rebellion was not forgotten. One night, alarms blared aboard the warship. Kale's forces had attacked, trying to take back control. Vayari and Alec led the defense, not with hatred, but with courage and calm. The battle was fierce but brief. Many of Kale's followers surrendered, tired of endless fighting. In the end, Kale was captured. Vayari faced him in the Great Hall. You were once a great warrior, she said quietly, but your fear blinded you. Kyle looked away. Perhaps. Now we have a choice, Vayari said. Hate or hope? Kyle nodded slowly. I will try. The Empire began to heal. As months passed, humans and Kareth worked side by side. Trade grew. Culture was shared. Old enemies became friends. The galaxy watched, amazed. Back on Earth, people celebrated the new alliance, hopeful for the future. Vayari and Alec stood together on the bridge of the warship, watching the stars. Why did you call me beautiful? Human? Vayari asked one last time, smiling. Alec smiled back. Because you are brave, kind, and ready to change the stars. Vayari laughed softly. Then maybe beauty is more than just a word. They looked out at the endless night. Two beings from different worlds united by hope. A new dawn had begun,